So let's talk about the impact of events like this. With the money being raised, what does it mean? Like, what's tangibly in terms of care and research for those that are afflicted with this disease?
Yeah, sure. So the Society's vision is a world free of MS. And our mission is that we will cure MS while empowering people affected by MS to live their best lives. So fundraising events like this event that we put on, like the other ones that I mentioned, really help us kind of do our best for those living with multiple sclerosis. It helps us raise money for research. It helps us really drive change through advocacy. It helps us provide programs and services for people who are in need and really their families.
On the food crew, and then HyPrix at their SimRaceCity should be some team.
HyPrix SimRaceCity car up the field a little bit and having to drop back, but
then for the Cadillac has been served, so they have found themselves in the pits, out and away again as they've been getting on their racing action. Greg is a very busy person when it comes to iRacing at this point in time, and he finds himself now with the opportunity to sit down and have a chat with Zach Month here as he gets ready and has his opportunity to talk a little bit further.
Engine itself cuts out slightly to accommodate that hybrid power, and so when it cuts in, you might just...
For our race leader.
Yeah, so a stop and go penalty by one of the great sim racing teams out there, Pure Sims Esports, the team founded by the BTCC, three-time champion of the Toyota Traffic, to navigate by. That field has certainly spread itself out a little bit, Arjuna, and GT1 leader Riley Graham in the Desert Dolphins finding himself a full 29 seconds to the good over Indy Autosport.
That very tricky middle ground of not being too impressive and also not being too unimpressive, or maybe getting into the bad books of some of the other competitors out there on track. Back over with the GR86s though, where suddenly we may have a fight for the race lead as Santiago Gonzalez in the HyPrix SimRaceCity 18, say that team name 5 times fast, I tell you, hunting down the throttle gobbler car. Jacob Burke starting to feel the pressure, and last time alone, 10 seconds gained by the second place machine.
And these laps are 5 minutes, just about cresting over. So to lose 10 seconds on a lap is the equivalent, say, of losing 2 or 3 seconds in another race that you've got going forward, as there is the confirmation of penalty there from Pure Sims Esports. They give it to the Desert Dolphins. There is work to be done for them to maintain that margin. But this is for these two drivers at the front, HyPrix SimRaceCity. You've got the Throttle Gobbler team. These two teams are lockstep in tandem. They're 22 seconds down the road here, Reese. And
Received word that Pure Sims Esports has given a penalty to them as well. They're defending like a lion into Indianapolis, and it looks like the traffic is held.
In a series like this, in a race like this, dirty air effect is paramount in terms of this, Arjuna.
Yes, it is, but I think we're going to see both of them potentially peel off to the lane because, yep, the BMW behind, yet to make a pit stop, had done 14 complete laps without coming down to the lane. That's almost 50 minutes of racing, given that we traditionally see the GTPs anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes. That's a pretty remarkable run. Don't think he's going to shave a pit stop off by any means, and so as the battle for the lead in the GTPs dissipates for the time being, it means we can focus back in on this GR86 train. Just a note as well, penalties are not the stop and goes that we talked about slightly earlier. They are now drive-through penalties, which is where the 30.5 second delta comes from, as a throttle car a bit too greedy on the throttle, and now down to second.
New leader then, HyPrix SimRaceCity, find themselves through Santiago Ramirez Gonzalez, now at the pointy end.
Love what we do. If you want to learn any more about what I've been discussing briefly here, but in more detail, there's a blog that I put out last week.
Exploits to the road to Mazda shootout and has seen so much success. Those years are the golden years. There's so much history that we've had in the 15 years of competition. If I think back through some of the memories, I've been fortunate enough to get introduced to so many different disciplines. I came in as a Formula One and a WRC fan, and I've now commentated on both iRacing World of Outlaws World Championship Series. Love myself a bit of dirt racing. Ultimately, it's just the accessibility and the opportunity that you get to do whatever you want, and whether that's go out here and race around the circuit to 24-hour Du Mans, or in my case, my preferred choice is break whatever wild and wacky car you can around the Nordschleife and see how quickly you can go. You can do whatever you want here on iRacing.
To an extent, yes. And Reese, you know, you and I, we've had some incredible times over the course of our sim racing. We
race to benefit the National MS Society. I'm thinking about that Desert Dolphins car and the battle they're having for the lead with Indy Autosport Gold behind.
As they dive their way in towards Tetra Rouge, you can see the GR86 in front of them, and well, coming a cropper at the worst possible time. Two GTPs try to go either side, and it ends with three cars crash.
Doing an incredible job too, but you look through, you're getting a lot now here, Reese, of your GR86 field, which has gone through, and then after that, the retirees.
Yep, and quite